Hello, family.
Hi, everybody.
How are you doing?
Doing good here.
Today's video, we're going to talk about how to relocate to Africa, but based upon your personal core values. We think that's very important for you to consider when you're going to do such a tremendous move. And of course, it's true if you're relocating anywhere.
Right. It has to be what you want, not what others are trying to say or, putting into you. What is it you desire?
That is so important. I hope you heard what my wife was saying there, because suggestions are good, comments are good. However, what I find in life is that individuals really are having challenges really making decisions based on what's important to them.
Right. Because you may see things that people are doing, but is it what you want? Because you're the one that's going to have the final say, and you're the one that's going to have to live whatever decision you make. So, yeah.
And because you're going to have to be the one to live with the decision you make, you want to make good quality decisions, and that way you're not in some position to blame other people.
Mm-hmm.
Just take responsibility for yourself. That's the key thing here.
Right.
That you are accountable for your decisions and what you choose to do. So what we're going to talk about then is values, how you do things based on values. We made a couple notes to ourselves here. FYI, our videos, they're designed for family. They're designed for African Americans or those who are in the transatlantic slave trade, who are dispersed throughout the UK, the Caribbean, India, Australia, wherever. And what we do is we take concepts back from the University of Egypt, the University of Babylon, and bring them to you. And when I say that, what I mean is my wife has certain credentials. You graduated from University of Maryland?
Yes, 4 year.
I've worked in IT, major Fortune 500 companies, as well as being an organizational development specialist, basically helping people to change their behavior and get the kind of performance they want in an organization. My degree is in business. So we're stealing concepts back. We're taking them back. And sometimes we're going to refer to the Bible because that's been the crux for us. So again, the key thing here is we're looking to answer questions and anticipate them before they come to us. They've already been coming to us. Well, which country should I live in on the continent? And what city should I go to? And they're hearing from their friends. It's almost like listening to your person in the bathroom stall next to you and you heard a good stock to invest in. And that's not the way you want to do this at all, okay?
No.
So here's a couple of things, and one of them is that when you do things based on values, and we've mentioned that before in other videos, this is what we mean by values. It's based on your behavior and living your life in accordance with those values that support those behaviors. So the studies show that people are going to be much more happy, content, have some satisfaction. They'll even have the strength, the inner strength to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish when they do things that are in alignment with their values.
Right, because when you do that, you feel more, like you say, you feel more confident, you're more relaxed, and you're not like fighting against yourself. So,
Yeah, talk about what happens when you're fighting against yourself.
Yeah, because a lot of times you sound like you're hearing a lot of different voices. But if you're hearing, listening to yourself, and you're going, okay, this is what I really like, so this is what I'm going to press to do. Other words, you're going to do what other people do, and then you're not going to be happy about it. You're not going to be satisfied. And then you'll sit one day and go, man, this is not really what I wanted. You know, so-and-so said whatever, but that's what they said. What am I saying? So,
and then you got this remorse.
Right.
And when sometimes they talk about it, if you buy a car or something, they call it
buyer's
buyer's
remorse. Yes.
That's it, buyer's remorse. And you don't want relocation remorse.
Right.
And you don't want, although sometimes you may move to one spot, which we did, and then you remember your values and you say, well, this is a little bit, something else is a little bit closer to our values.
Right.
That's different than buyer's remorse.
Right.
Okay?
Because something like you say, you'll get to, it might take you a couple of steps, but you're still moving forward to exactly what you want. So you might land in one particular area and say, you know, out of 10 or whatever, this is pretty much what I'm looking for, but I think I'm really wanting this, that, you know, so then you keep pressing until you feel, okay, this is more rounded of what I want. So, yeah.
Some of the signs that a person may not be hitting the mark, meaning they're out of alignment with their values. And imagine I've had knee problems, and when I twist it or whatever, it's out of alignment, or you ever get your finger out of joint, the blood flow is not happening. And so that's what we refer to as out of alignment. So it's like you don't have the energy to complete things. You're feeling kind of low, maybe even a little depressed or some anxiety. You might be frustrated or some anger. And I personally like to think of some of these things, frustration, as God or Yahweh's way of kind of nudging you and say, yeah, get up and do something to get moving again, so that you're back on purpose and you're not missing the mark.
Right.
So you need to consider what's important to you. There's a Bible verse, and hopefully I'll remember to put it on the banner at the bottom. It's in Proverbs, like 24, verse 27. And roughly it says something about prove your work without in the fields, and afterwards build your house. If you think about it, our ancestors were in an agricultural environment. And I'm personally coming from the Midwest. That's where I was raised. So I'm used to seeing soybean fields, corn fields, fields. And can you imagine that you think the field that has been assigned to you is going to support pineapples, mangoes, or corn, and it does not. And that's your area of specialty. Or you got to adjust to what the field is able to produce, what the soil can provide, and that's what you want to be planting. When you see some success there, then you want to build your house. And I think what people want to do is, in their lives, they try to go and plant themselves somewhere. I wish I hadn't said the word plant, but they try to build a house somewhere that they haven't proven the field yet.
Gotcha. Yep.
I mean, why in the world would I try to be a Formula One race car driver with no experience in Formula One, but I'm gonna like sell everything and try to build my future in that? That makes no sense.
Yeah, it's like you gotta have, I don't know if this is accurate, skin in the game, but it's like you gotta be able to say, okay, this is what I'm feeling, this is within my area, my desire, all of those things that feeling good to you, like, okay, it's like it's a good fit and it's what I want to be able to do, so I'm going to press to be able to do it because it's a good fit, and it looks like it's moving in the direction that I'm wanting it to move into.
And you've had some people acknowledge and say, you know what? You're pretty good at that. So much so that they may be investing their energy, time, resources in the thing that you're doing. You know that that's an outside acknowledgement of your gift or talent.
Right.
And so that's a good way to move forward. That's a big area for me in terms of gifts and talents. And I think I'm going to put something on our website that I created back in, I think it was I don't know, the mid 80s, a way with pencil and paper just to kind of look back over your life and figure out what's your next step forward. And I use the analogy of being in a rowboat, because when I was a Boy Scout, we learned to row a rowboat. You look where you've been already and you pick a point so that you, before you start rowing, you pick this point and you aim for that point. But you're always, in a rowboat, you're always looking at where you've been. And it helps you go in a straight line instead of a zigzag across the lake. So anyway, hopefully we'll do something in that area, or I'll post something up on our website, it's awakenwithmark.com also, with regards to that assessment to help people look at where they've had success before and someone else acknowledged it, and that way you know you're heading in the right direction. So when we talk about values, we want to be a little more clear about that. And so talk about, for example, homeschooling, for instance.
Well, it was something that I had looked into, because I had some friends that were homeschooling, and I think I was just getting to the point where I wanted to be able to have more say and involvement in my children's education. So I looked more into it. I got to understand. I thought it was good because you got to really understand your children's strengths and weaknesses and working in those areas, because sometimes there are different labels, different things that the system might show you that I'm like, well, do I need to have them within that? Can they just grow and expand and use their gifts and talents without being so regimented? And homeschooling allowed them more freedom to show who they were and bring out within themselves who they really were, without sometimes being real rigid. And so I enjoyed doing that, and over the time seeing what they liked, what they didn't like, because we had one child that went into music, and we had him in a particular class doing something, and come to find out he really liked something else. And so I was keen. I thought the Lord was showing me, well, no, this is what he seems to be doing all the time, not the other thing you had him doing. So it showed more of what his gifting was. And I think because of the environment that I had them in, it showed me more freedom to be able to see those things. So I like the homeschooling aspect because it helped me to see more of who they really were, rounded in who they really were. So that was a plus, a benefit, a success that was good for them. And they were all successful, and you got to see the areas that they were in and how they succeeded in those areas.
So I'm going to go back to what we were talking about. I know that analogy is not about relocation and geography, and I did that on purpose because that's going to generate some comments and so forth, and it also kind of nudges people to keep paying attention, trying to figure out what's the connection here. When you're making a decision based on your values, what happens is you behave or you act according to your values. What I heard Marlene saying is that basically Mars brought the homeschooling concept to our family. She brought that to me long before anyone was 5 years old or school age or anything like that. She did it because she valued controlling what was put into our children, which was going to result in her behavior of successfully homeschooling for over 25 years. And that's going to be significant financially for us. In other words, we ain't making as much money because we're not a 2-salary household.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So there's going to be some sacrifice. So if you're wanting to move to I don't know, the Gambia or the Namibia, there's going to be some sacrifice, but your behavior will be reflected in the thing that you value. That was why we gave you that analogy. So you get an idea, looking at our past, looking backwards on our life and say, oh, okay, her behavior was a particular way because of things she esteemed. And in this case, we're calling those values. That's very important to know. Also, I've been watching you, to give a second example here. I've been watching you, and you have been exercising every morning, if not 90% of the mornings, for some period of time. What's going on there? Why are you doing this? How long has it been going on?
I guess regularly, since probably 2005 or 6 or something like that. I had done it before, but it was like maybe a couple of days a week. But after that, I started doing it more regular because I guess I tried to look ahead as I'm getting older, and I'm looking at. I know the world talks about sedentary, meaning a lot of times we're just stagnant. We're sitting, we're not doing a lot of things, be it if you have a job where you're at a desk or whatever. And even though I homeschooled and we were active and stuff, but you're not necessarily moving certain muscles when you're walking or driving, but if you're sitting down doing certain things or using weights or doing other stuff, you're working the whole body. And so I like the aspect of exercising because it helped me for the future. As we get older, our muscles, our joints aren't functioning properly. And I know a lot of times people have had injuries and stuff, and the older you get, they take longer to heal. But if you've been working them over periods of time, maybe they won't take as long, to heal.
Hey,
so I looked into the future.
Hold on. Yeah, I get it. Look toward the future. You've mentioned older about 3 times here. I'm not going to give you numbers per se of age, although she doesn't have a problem with that. Let me just say it this way. We're closer to being able to see, or she is 70 years old with eyeglasses, not binoculars. Now you go see and learn what that might mean, okay? What I got from that is that Mars feels physically fit. She's better, loose, the joints lubricated, they're not stiff, you feel energized, and therefore you have exercised consistently daily for somewhere over 20, just around 20 years or something like that. Again, because of the thing you value, it impacted the way you behave.
Right, and it's something people say, when you work a muscle, you do something, it's like your body gets used to that. And then when you stop, the body's like, well, what's going on? So that's how it functions for me. It's like, I'm so used to doing it, the body's ready for it. And then when I don't do it, it's like, what's happening? So that works for me and I enjoy it.
Yeah, and kudos to your father, Pops, who would say that. I remember him saying, the body craves whatever you give it on a consistent basis, good or bad. It craves that after a while. So now, more about this relocation, the continent of Africa and all that kind of stuff. So we've spent over 10 years actively searching for a retirement location that looked different ways at different periods of time. And one thing is, shout out to a friend of ours, Scott, who said, never let money be the reason why you do not do something. I know the Bible says money answereth all things. I'm not talking about that right now. What I'm talking about is don't let money be your excuse for not doing something. That's not exactly the way Scott said it, but that's what I'm saying. If you heard earlier, I said, because she was homeschooling, we were not a two salary household. We've gotten comments in the past when I was reading through them and seeing them where some people think, oh, you're making a lot of money, oh this, oh that, and they're telling stories that really are not the case. Let me break it down for you, okay? So first of all, we are in an older age group. Secondly, we did not have some kind of household income that was inheritance or submitted to us. We're grateful that both of our mothers are still alive, but they're closer to the 100, okay? In terms of work, her mother did not work outside of the home, but for a quick amount of time early on. Mine did, but I'm so thankful. My mother had a job as a domestic and as a custodian. Janitor, for those who don't understand.
Can I interject something?
Yeah, absolutely.
She did work, but I guess she quit after a period of time. Like she worked from the time before I was born with older people and stuff. But she quit probably around the time when I was like in high school or college or something. But that's still a long time ago. So she had a smaller span than maybe some people of this era work until they're like, she wasn't like 60, 70 years old, still working. But it was just a part of time. And like you said, your mother, her probably, like you said, working was longer. So it was different in different situations. But
there's no boatload of money that was coming our way. All right, not at all. I was working in high school as a computer operator. And I was doing that on weekends, and then I worked all the way through college. However, I worked for the federal government for about 20 years. Now, let me just say this. If you really want to bring home the bacon, as they say, bring home the bag, whatever, you work for the government for 30 years, 35. I did not, okay? What I'm saying is, don't let money be the reason why you don't do something. And what might help is change your questions. Instead of asking, how am I ever gonna do, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna do, I did father and son trips, we agreed I'd do that. How are we gonna go to Japan? How am I gonna go to Jamaica? How are they gonna go to Europe and Australia? These are all real places that our family has been. And I just stopped short. There have been over 15 places, okay? First of all, change the question. What would it take for us to be able to do that?
Right.
It puts you in a totally different mindset. And it also gives you an opportunity to actually walk in faith and trust in Yahweh or God.
Yeah.
It really does.
And that statement is the same for other things that you do. You're going to move to another place. What would it take to be able to do that? It's the same muscle of trying to figure, what is it, like when you were taking trips and stuff, what is it we're trying to accomplish when we do this? What was the goal for it? Well, to spend more time with your son, to, things you had in common, to experience new things. And so even when you're going to move somewhere, you got to figure out, okay, well, why do I want to do this? Where do I want to be? Where do I, and it's what's within you of what you want to do. So it kind of works, in that area too. So.
Can you please own what she said? You need to own this thing. Really asking other people is a nice thing to gain information and learn a few things. But could you please take the time to find out what's important to you? What do you like?
Right.
So during a couple of father and son trips, I was able, you and I went to like Puerto Rico, St. Kitts, Nevis, other places like that, and Mexico and so forth. And I was getting data and information, but I'm always comparing it to what I want, because I want to own it, not because so many viewers, commenters, or people at work said to me, oh, you should go to Portugal because it's inexpensive and that's the place to go and they have a golden passport, blah, blah, blah. No, we know what things we value. So now let's just kind of go ahead and spill the beans and tell them the things that we value and in terms of our retirement location. So we were looking for things like, we like the ocean.
Yes, very important. It's calming, it's peaceful, it helps you to sit and just dream, so.
It's so therapeutic.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
That's important to us. Important enough that we might sacrifice some things. For example, we lived on the East Coast of the United States and we could drive to Baltimore and be in Annapolis in less than 20 minutes and see the ocean and walk along there. I remember riding my motorcycle over there a lot just to think, to meditate, pray. It was just really cool. Then we relocated to the West Coast, which was always a dream of mine to live in Los Angeles. And we were there for more than a few years, 3 years or so. It was fabulous to be basically a stone's throw from Hollywood, which is where one of our sons worked on set, had great time, met a lot of people. I'm not going to steal his thunder. But we could go to the ocean in about 10 to 15 minutes. So we shortened our time. This time we're on the Pacific side. And it was just that water thing that just really touched me. I've heard them say that people either want to be living near mountains,
that's
plains, the ocean, and some people reminded me, or they like the city, the tall buildings. I know walking in Chicago, it amazed me, or New York, how there are places where the sun don't hit the ground. But anyway, that's another thing. So one of the things that we value was being near the water. Another thing is the warmer climate.
Right. That's real important, and it's important as you get older.
Yeah, boy.
Because it affects your joints. So the warmer weather is on a regular basis is important.
Consistently.
Yes.
I've experienced a torn meniscus and did not receive surgery, but my knee has felt so much better. It's not popping out. There were times when I was going in the DMV, and for those who don't know, that's the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia, DMV for short. I'm taking the metro. Everybody takes the metro, unlike Los Angeles. I'm going up the escalator, and I've literally had my knee, as I would call it, go out. And it's wild. You're in this suit, white shirt, power tie, and you're up here trying to do a hurdler stretch, which is kind of important to me because I used to be a hurdler. And you're trying to move that thing back in place. I haven't had any of this stuff happen. I can't even remember. This has been more than 5 years that this has happened because I'm in a warmer climate, partly more active, and also probably staying away from French fries, potatoes a little bit because I love them. So, but that warmer climate really helps. That's important.
Yeah, and I think one thing we didn't really talk about it, but I think it's also, it's your peace of mind. You know, it's like your thought pattern, everything. It's like people used to say when you get up in the morning and if it's raining and storming, it's like you've come down. But if you wake up the next day and it's sunny, you're up. So it's almost like that.
Yes,
it's like
thank
your
you.
whole demeanor, the whole way you view things it's just totally different. So
It really affects our moods. It affects mine. I know it used to get on my mother's nerves. I would we have a picture window in our home in the Midwest, and I'm opening curtains, letting as much sunlight in as possible. Also, PSA, public service announcement. Black people, we need the sun.
yeah.
Okay? Double entendre here. We do better when we are always kissing the sun. S-U-N or S-O-N.
Yeah.
I don't remember where that is in the Bible. I might look it up. But but anyway, the melanin, it thrives, okay?
Yes.
So we want to be in that environment. That was important to us. That's all I'm saying, all right?
Yes.
Laid back environment.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Since we're retired, that works for us.
Actually, well, I want to say, that was occurring to me a little bit, I think because I grew up in the Midwest and smaller town. Smaller town to me is 100,000 people. I mean, FedEx Field, which we lived near at one point in time, could host my whole city, a capital city, in the stadium, okay? Because they're until Snyder pulled out seats, they were in the 90,000 range. That's unbelievable to me. I think the slower pace.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person, I remember my mother, we'd be at a drugstore and saying hi to the person checking you out, and they're at the register, the cash register, and they're, if you notice, I kind of explain things as one of my friends, shout out to Steve, says we talk in round robin. In other words, instead of just going straight to the point, have a tendency to tell you someone's cousin, oh yeah, this, oh yeah, that, and telling you all this information you probably don't want to hear. That's a laid back Mayberry RFD kind of a thing. And I think I was getting prepared for that a little bit where I'm from. And also I liked it down there on the way to Sandbridge in Virginia Beach.
Right.
I really like that area
More
down there, the Tidewater area.
Family.
Let's see here. Oh, mixed cultures. So your father was in the Air Force, and you had some good memories.
Yeah, we moved a lot, but I remember being young, and I noticed that a lot of our fan base, our family friends, were. It's like being in the UN. It was really interesting. So it was nice having. Seeing people of other cultures and getting to know other people of other cultures, because I know sometimes a lot of people don't get that, where they may live, they may only have a certain group of people, and they'll move someplace else. I'm like, man, I've never known people of this particular culture, but because I kind of grew up in it, I got to meet people from various. I mean, when I say cultures, they might have been from Germany, they might have been from India, they may have been, so various, and I'm, paid places. So that was good. And so when we were moving, settling here, it was like knowing that where we are, there are people of various cultures and backgrounds, and it helps you it helps you to grow, I feel, you know.
Which we
so.
experience in Kigali, Rwanda,
Right.
and also in Zanzibar here.
Yes.
For me, I went to a university that was a small school, which I was very proud of, as a matter of fact, very excited about that. And the student population, a white male or white female student was definitely in the minority.
Yeah.
You had to look to find them. At that point in time, there were students from Iran, Iraq, Vietnam, Turkey, let's see here, Lebanon, did I mention that? My gosh, they were from all over, Cuba, Dominican Republic.
That's right, yeah.
Man, I could go on and on. Haiti. It was really, that's why our soccer team, football team was like NAIA champs
really good.
for a couple of years there. So, and the coach was from Turkey. Anyway, but it's like, that was probably the best time of my life. I know you really enjoyed it when you were up in California and off the Mojave Desert.
Yeah,
and you've talked about that a lot.
We played football all the time.
Yeah.
So it was, and like I say, I had a lot of friends from a lot of different places. So it's good growing up. It was just the environment, you know, you got used to that, having the different cultures. And so I really enjoy that. And so now it's like I say, it does help you to grow and, you know, be more tolerant of the different people's cultures and things and stuff. So I like that.
So we were looking for that. That was a value for us, and that affected our behavior. Another thing is affordability.
Yes.
East Coast of the United States, one thing is you can't get there. I mean, I could go to Annapolis and get to the water, but you got the Naval Academy in the way of the ocean and other things. I'm not saying anything negative about the Naval Academy. You need to have money, okay? If you're in one of the yachts pulling into the harbor there in Annapolis, or you're up in Baltimore, Inner Harbor, a lot of money, okay? I think also the homes that I would pass on the West Coast in near the beach in Los Angeles also. I mean, you're talking minimum multiple millions of dollars just for like a 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom condo. So it just wasn't affordable. So that was something that was very key to us, because if you remember, I was saying to you earlier that we were not some 25-year, 2-income family. It was based on one salary. There's not a boatload of money coming in, so it had to work financially for us also, all right? And lastly, we did check out some places, whether it was Puerto Rico, St. Kitts, Nevis, Jamaica, different places.
Virgin Islands too.
Right. But eventually something awakened within us, and the continent of Africa, which was someplace I never really wanted to come to.
I had quite a few places. So.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah,
you did.
Oh, yeah.
But the continent just seemed to speak to us. So if you're looking to relocate anywhere in the world, or specifically the continent of Africa, and you're looking for a country to settle in, what we're saying to you is, put everything else aside, everyone else's opinions, everyone else's lists. I guess women have lists when it comes to men, and I guess people have lists when it comes to places they want to stay. But think about what's important to you, because that's the kind of thing that's going to influence your behavior.
Right.
Now, you can claim that you want certain things, but if you notice, we're often going back in a story and saying we carried this through over time, whether it was diverse cultures as we were in high school or at the university or something like that. It planted a seed in us, and we were willing to make a sacrifice to be able to be someplace where we don't speak the language and tough it out. Are you willing to pay those kinds of prices for where you want to be? I'm really hoping that this helps. I tell you this much, we're grateful for the people who we've run into at the grocery store, and these people are from different countries while we're here in Zanzibar.
Right.
They have, and we have moved. We live here in Zanzibar.
Yes.
Come up to us saying that, can I take your picture? Oh, your videos meant so much.
Yeah.
And we realize, oh my goodness, serving others is another thing
Right.
that is very important to us. Serving others. And this gives us an opportunity to do it. So I guess we're giving you a sneak preview why we do the YouTube, why we do the blog/website, why we do the Instagram. We're looking for a way to serve others. If you're part of the family, if you are Afro-American, African-American, UK, Canadian, Australia, Indian, Chinese, Black, we're speaking to you.
Yes.
Okay? So we hope you found value. Did you have any other thoughts? Did we hit everything?
I think so. I think we hit everything, but it's we're liking where we are. We really are enjoying it. Our sons are here with us also, but we're really enjoying being where we are and growing and about to learn the language because we're going to be here. So we need to know the language. So I'm looking forward to that. I really am. So.
Yeah. I definitely concur with my wife. We do enjoy it here. We are in Zanzibar.
Yes.
It's fabulous. We do have our retirement home. That was a dream of ours.
Yes.
Beach retirement home.
Yes.
So we got that. It's very exciting. It also afforded us other opportunities, which we'll talk about in other videos, for our sons and trying to have generational wealth for them, making sacrifices from what we could own now so that they could own something and build upon it.
Right.
So, but that's in future videos.
Yeah. I do want to say though that we really have met some really beautiful people here. We've established some good friendships, good relationships, and we're constantly meeting people, and they're from everywhere. I mean, we've met people that might be Jamaican, but they used to live in New York, or just people from all over. But we've really just met a lot of really good people, and so
Yeah.
that's been really nice.
Yeah, shout out to Rose and Malcolm. Also, shout out to the lady who's Ethiopian from Atlanta, Georgia.
I think her name is Meheret. I
Meheret.
might be saying it wrong.
Please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. It was so fun for you to come up on us when we were eating at the cafe.
Yeah.
And man, then to hang out with you at the beach restaurant and just kind of talk and learn some things. And I guess you're enjoying it up there in Rwanda. That's exciting. Also, shout out to David and Dora, who are some fantastic family
People
we
in
met up
Rwanda.
there in Rwanda. Oh boy. Just some cool stuff. Hey, if you found value in what we've shared and trying to help you in deciding where you want to relocate and how do you go about it based on what you value,
Right.
we ask that you would like this video, that you would share it with your friends, okay? And of course, for those who have not yet, we ask that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, Awaken with Mark. We're excited to be serving you. That's about it. So we say, toodles.
See you later.
One night, can we last till